Welcome everyone. Today is June 8th, 2023. Welcome to SIG Instrumentation bi-weekly meeting. All right, we only have one item on the agenda, which is our upcoming KEPs. I think we only have two upcoming KEPs. One is extending metric stability and graduating that to GA, and that KEP is already approved and PRR approved. Rux Pranchu, how's your KEP doing? Did you get your PRR approved or?
Yeah, so I pinged John on the plot readiness channel. We should take a look at it soon. I did get a comment on my KEP by the release lead. I think it's pretty much straightforward what's left here. There's one thing that I think I wanted to bring up, which is the GA criteria for the KEP. Because I've been thinking, it could get pretty cumbersome in the future to single out metrics and define exactly the value, the label names and values that we want to kind of blacklist. Instead of that, maybe we could define, something like a metric should not have more than these number of the key should not have a key in a metric cannot have more than this number of values.
No, we talked about this. We talked about this in the original iteration. So the problem with cardinality limits is it's a completely different problem, because if you were to specify, like, I only want 1,000 labels, when do you stop generating labels? You're going to have inconsistent labels from run to run of any given server, because you're not guaranteed a specific order in which labels are generated. So you can't just like arbitrarily use a threshold to limit the cardinal. You have to use an allow list or deny list approach.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I had one design in the Prometheus client to kind of like blank out the labels that had too many values at some point, but still, like, it's very controversial. It's very hard to implement. It's not efficient, but so yeah, an allow list is way easier.
Yeah, it's much simpler to rock. It's much simpler to rock. Like, maybe for GA, we do regular expressions on labels.
Yeah,
that is even acceptable, right? Like, I could understand that, but we cannot go, like, if you want to dig into the history of it, we have a long discussion in the original KEP thread. You should read it, where we talk about it, because David brings it up, and so does Damien. And it is a different thing that you are describing. Like, it is a totally different mechanism, and I'm not even convinced that that mechanism can actually work in a consistent way.
Yeah, no, it's super complex. Like, it's
because
a real problem,
like,
I guess.
yeah, if you say I'm capping it, if I'm capping at, like, let's say 10 labels, and I say I'm capping at 10 labels per, or 10 values per label, and I have API server latencies, right? This was a huge metric, and I want to cap it at 10 values per label. I will get a mix of labels from different API servers, depending on which requests that they get. And so, like, when you aggregate this in the back end, it's a nightmare. It could literally not make any sense. I'm not even sure that the data is usable. Like, that's specifically the reason why this thing used an allow list, deny list, because I had considered that. I was like, obviously the thing that we want is like a cap on the number of labels. That is the desired state. However, we can't actually implement that because doing so would just break backend's ability to parse the metric.
Yeah.
Right. Which is, yeah. So if you look in the original cap, there's a long discussion about it. Let me try to find it.
I have one GitHub discussion as well in client Golang if you want to have a look. Like there wasn't, like it's hard to come up with something that would really make everyone happy and be the like finite solution to cardinality. But the allow list is straightforward, easy, and yeah, it allows some mechanism to protect anyone at runtime.
Oh,
Hello.
I am not able to find, where is it?
What are you looking for, Vika?
I'm looking for the original dynamic cardinality. Dynamic cardinality PR. Hold on, let me see it. Where is it? Do you have the cap, Crunchy, by any chance? I can't find it.
You mean the PR for the original?
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I found it. Right here. Here's the discussion. I found it. There you go. Yeah, we had this discussion basically 3 years ago. And my response is, the problem is that it becomes unparsable in the backends because you lose deterministic output in your front ends. That's the problem. And the thing about allow list, deny list is you get consistent labels across all your front ends processes, and therefore you can aggregate them in your backends. That's the thing the allow list gives you that the strict cardinality enforcement thing would not. And I'm okay with someone implementing it. I honestly just don't think it's usable. Like, I honestly don't think you can aggregate data in your backend if you use the cardinality. Like, if you have multiple Kubernetes clusters, your data is not usable.
Yeah, even
it works for a single one. It works for a single one.
The biggest problem of making that like self-fixing when like there is too many labels, you either blank out or something, or like the label disappear, then all your alerts that were relying on this label will start failing or like not reporting anything without you knowing. Whereas like if the administrator add the like invalid label to an allow list, then they know that they need to fix their alert or they need to look at some other things that are using this metric. Which is why sometimes it's nice to also tell the administrator to take an action.
So I'm just thinking out loud, but so this definitely makes sense. But have we considered using metric names as the seed to just to try to get a deterministic kind of result? Because that would determine the order that the label keys are basically generated.
No, the label keys for something like API server latencies is generated from actual requests. So people making requests to a CRD, now you will have a label value, which is the resource of that CRD, right? It has nothing to do with the metric name. The metric name has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with what requests the API server is actually receiving at this moment in time.
Even like counting the number of labels is pretty complex, because
Yeah.
like even in the storage system, it's stored as a time series, and you don't have a notion of like there is 10 of these labels and 100 of these labels without the computing aspect. So
That's
yeah, you cannot even like add the storage label or before produce a metric. Like
that's not to say I don't think, like, if you can come up with a solution to this problem, I think that would be great, because this is a problem, and we ultimately would like to be able to restrict cardinality limits on a metric altogether. We cannot straightforwardly do it like that, right? And if you're able to figure out a way to do it, I highly recommend writing a cap and doing it. I don't think it makes sense for dynamic cardinality enforcement, because this is like, I specifically did not want to do the thing that you're describing because of the increased complexity involved. Like, I was specifically avoiding it for this cap. And you can see the discussions in the original GitHub issue around, like, at least my position on it. So anyway,
yeah, the increased complexity definitely demands.
Yeah, and aggregation in the backends. You have to think about aggregation across multiple clusters in the backend, right? Is the problem. You want it to be deterministic, and you want to be able to aggregate consistently across your backends. If you have multiple Kubernetes clusters. For single Kubernetes clusters, your thing works. I mean, it just works, right? Like, bounding by cardinality is fine. Like, it's basically like to me, it's basically like a summary metric, right? Like, a summary metric, like, is what? Non-aggregatable. That is the important characteristic about a summary metric. You can't aggregate a 50th percentile, like, it just doesn't make sense, right? Like, summary metrics cannot be aggregated across multiple clusters. So, like, but then summary metrics are, again, deprecated and not recommended to be used because they cannot be aggregated across multiple backends, right?
Not sure how.
No, you shouldn't solve it right now. You shouldn't solve it right now. I'm not asking for a solution right now. I mean, like, I would think about it a lot, like, because I have thought about it a lot. Like, I thought about the problem, and like believe me, like, if the thing that you were describing like made sense and was easy to do, like, I would have been like all about it, like all about it, because it is the most straightforward way to solve this problem, which is just put a cap on the number of labels, right? Yeah, absolutely. I would love to be able to do that. It just it breaks all the backends. That's the problem. Yeah. So anyway, we got 2 caps. Let me know if you need a nudge. I can ping John to take a look at your
You just need PR approval, Pancho, or do you need anything else?
He needs PR approval, I think.
Just PR?
Because today is PR deadline.
Yeah, so it's because I think the deadline is just 1 week before the actual deadline, saying that like PR approvers have a week starting from the freeze to look at the request from everyone. And that's what I gathered from the last one.
Yeah, somebody asked in the channel.
Yeah, essentially, like, before, there was this misconception that the PR freeze was the actual hard freeze, but it's actually the freeze for actually pinging a PR approver.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
correct.
it leaves
And
them
you
a
have,
week
it's a soft
for
deadline.
it.
It's a soft deadline,
Yeah.
yes. And you basically want to get in the list so that you get your PR by the time the cap freeze happens. I'm a shadower, PRR shadower. So
So you are not a full-time PR approver?
no, I need to do a certain number of reviews before they give it to me.
Oh, okay.
And
But
maybe
there is
I'll
only
need
3
it.
people right now, right?
There's like
John, Wojtek, and
yeah,
David?
there's only 3. And we lost Elena because Elena was our SIG Instrumentation one, so that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, true.
Okay, then I think that's it for today, right? Is there any other topics?
A bit off topic, but we were talking about the last time we talked about the mentorship thing. If anyone is free. Yeah, again, I don't want to impose that on anyone, but if anyone has bandwidth.
My bandwidth is like kind of terrible right now. It is kind of terrible right now.
Pretty much the same for me.
I am in a terrible spot.
I might have more view on my actual bandwidth.
Yeah, give me 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks to figure out my what my schedule looks like, and then we can revisit it next.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, like we had assigned mentee mentor pairs, and then I don't know what happened to David and Elena. They just like kind of bailed. And well,
David was going on
David,
so
yeah, but
yeah.
Yeah, so
it's
just not ideal situation for the mentorship program. I understand that. Give us 2 weeks, and then Damien can figure out his schedule. I can figure out my schedule, and we can figure out like how to make this work.
Yeah,
that's totally fine. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, great. Then let's convene for now, and then let's resync in 2 weeks, and then we can talk about the mentorship program and where to go from there. David should be back by then too.
Do you know when he's back? Next week?
Yeah, hold on, let me see.
Yeah, sure.
David should be back June 19, which is the same week. Yeah, so he will be back by the next meeting.
Cool. I think there was someone also interested in tracing a potential mentee, so it would be nice.
Yeah. Okay, and then we have to probably offline discuss this, but we should figure out what's going on with Elena.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then I guess we can convene for now, and then we'll see everyone either for next week for the biweekly triage, and 2 weeks for the next SIG Instrumentation meeting. Thanks everyone for attending.
Bye everyone.
Bye.